Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Monday morning, May 8th. How is everyone doing? Good morning, Patrick. Hey, William. If we have some time, we'll look at NTR. A bunch of people in the background. Very few comments. Boring day today so far. Pretty boring week, actually. If you take a look at this, we got today wholesale inventories and consumer inflation expectations, both of the minor numbers, and then nothing. So 9 and 10 a.m. Central. Tomorrow, not much. Business optimism out real early. IBD, Investors Business Daily, Economic Optimism, and then not much. And Red Book. Big things this week. CPI on Wednesday, but other than that, nothing. PPI on Thursday plus jobless claims, and that's it. And then the preliminary inflation expectations. So a very, very quiet week besides CPI. That's about the biggest thing. Could create some volatility. PPI probably not so much. Probably not so much. Hey, Paul. Good morning, Jacob. So far, financials leading the morning strong, and the regional banks bouncing back fairly strong. Oil and gas continuing. Remember, the percent B buy kicked in last week. Tesla up pre-market. The other mega caps are slightly down. You see energy, basic materials, and financial leading things higher. Fed watch tool, 88% for a pause in June. Remember, that's June 14th. I am expecting a pause unless some other data comes out really hot, but I think they still might pause for a month. I'm not expecting inflation to roll over as much as some other people. Fear and greed, still in greed mode. Current market valuation, this is interesting. Market value index, you can see at the very upper end of fairly valued. We're back above one standard deviation on the aggregate score index. Remember, we were only slightly higher than this before the pretty big pullback, but now we're back in that territory. Buffett indicator overvalued. P to E, this is what I'm talking about. The market is priced in for perfection, overvalued. Doesn't mean it has to stop rallying, but it is priced in for perfection. Interest rate model fairly valued. Mean reversion model overvalued. Then you get to stuff like the yield curve model, it's very high. So keep an eye on this. And again, markets can keep being absolutely insane from my perspective a lot longer. So you got to trade the patterns. In terms of also where we sit this week, we're virtually at neutral gamma right now. 41.55 area. We're trading 41.55. We do have some gamma kicking in, so especially some call gamma above this 41.50. So if we do rally, some of that call gamma really starts ramping up, which converts to deltas, but you also have dealers having to sell. Besides the 0-day option expirations, you have dealers having to sell into it especially as it closes in about 4,200 again. A lot of there's some minor put value puts gamma kicking in about below 41.50, but it really you start getting that kicking in, and then you get below 4,100. That's the only thing that could really get an impulse move to the downside. In terms of earnings, again, there wasn't much this morning. After the close, you got PayPal, Palantir. Those are about the two big ones. Tomorrow, nickel is not really big anymore. Nothing really major tomorrow. I mean, Fisker and Nikola, but they're very minor. Airbnb after the close, Rivian, minor. Roblox Wednesday. Walt Disney's a pretty big one after the close on Wednesday. Let's see. I mean, there's a fair amount of companies reporting, but not a lot that's really not a lot of single companies that are going to move the market. So that's really the thing. You still have a fair amount of companies reporting. I mean, Beyond Meat could really shake up the market with the fake meat, but you don't have a lot that's really going to rip stuff around. All right. Where do we sit? Good morning, Anissa. Yeah, I saw that. Yep. Again, it's gonna take some time. Also, I don't fine Buffett. I agree, inflation will decline. I don't think it's going back to. I mean, some people have it dropping back below 2%, like by the end of this year. Not really. Pep Gold. Good morning, Christoph. So, I agree it will decline, but I think it could stay in the stickier category a lot longer. I think it could get stuck also. You're going to have a little chop back and forth, but it could get stuck at a little, in the upper threes to lower 4%, which is still not good. What do we have? Let's just take a look at the daily. Uh, if we really start taking out these pre-market highs and then rolling above Friday's highs, which came in at 41.63, I'm targeting 41.70. And then my next target is about 41.80, which is right around the gap down open from last Tuesday. Then I'm looking at 41.86 to about 41.88. So those are the targets, the upside right now. Now, can't get overly bearish until I get a close, and this is not on a 5-minute time frame, by the way, but below 41.42.50. This is a 4-hour mini potential double top. Now, if it really rallies and takes out the high from Friday, it'll probably get invalidated. So it's a potential, but it would need a close below 41.42.50. I'd actually flip these to the conservative side. We just don't know if that high's in, so I can't really put out those levels. But potentially off the aggressive side, it could be a fullback from 41.21, first target being 41.42. That's the only thing that would take me into a pullback mode. And overall, big picture, we're still rotating over in cycles from the weekly, which that's a choppy to downward bias for the next few weeks. That does not mean every day has to be down. I get that question a lot. Well, with cycles rolling over, doesn't it mean no? It means that's the overall bias. We need to see some levels broken to really trigger it. The NASDAQ does not really have it's just sort of a horizontal pullback, slight flagging pattern. I'm really watching if it breaks above about 13,355. The next key level is 13,417 and 13,486. On the bigger picture, it's in this very topping area, but shorts will have to cover if it does really break out above this 13,355 to 13,370. In terms of a rollover play, you start breaking down below about 13,285. There's a pausing area of 13,257, and then you go into a pretty substantial clear path, but I wouldn't be looking for some major downside acceleration until below 13,246 area. That's when it gets real interesting, especially with weak internals. If we do get some rollover, remember, there's just not much news going on. Good morning, Todd. Good morning, George. The Dow still has a double in play, would need a daily close above 33,982 to invalidate it. So I will be watching for some rollover here. Do we have anything on the shorter term? This is a weak double, but you get a close. It's still, if you get a close below 33,707, I just do below 33,700. I'd be watching for again a pullback move. Other than that, just based off the short term, I'm moving these levels. The reason they're still up here is because that determines the stop level for the double. But based off the most recent harmonics, we're trading against the 62.5 area. So If we do start breaking, especially above about 33.9, the next target is just above 34,000, then 34,200. The Russell, little snapback here after testing this low range and now snapping back. A key resistance is still 1782 and then 1796. Support coming in at 1761. Below 1761, I'd be looking at about 1742. VIX is still not stopped out on the double, not invalidated. If it does roll down though and close below 1715, that is over. 1 day VIX is back in the lower range. The DAX still holding up against key resistance. If it does break higher above 16,085, about 16,125 and 16,188, the note's still caught in this massive range. On a pullback, I'm watching for a breakdown for 114.23. Dollar index. Remember, trading now, it's really, because a little bounce up, it's really in a quad bottom. But nothing I'm paying attention to until we get below 130. And then we could make an easy run to 99.85 to 100. That would be interesting. If this holds, no pop yet in the dollar. It keeps getting sold. Crude, remember we get the percent beat buy, followed through with the close on Friday. Then I was watching for 73.60 area. We're closing in on that now. That's a 50% down move from this sell-off. Above there to 73.60 to about 74.30 is a very nice area to move up stops or take partial profits from my view from any buys off this lows area. But overall, crude still in a massive trading range. Gold, still, unless we really start breaking down below 1982, it's still holding up in consolidation. Nothing much there from a bigger perspective. Daily cycles back at the bottoming area, trying to turn up. But as the podcast that was recorded yesterday, if we need to really break out on some volume to the upside, otherwise just being very patient. So watch for the podcast to drop this morning on the YouTube channel and on Spotify. Yen, those are the bonds, not back to 50 area yet. Yen, we got a very weak rotation up. Not real interested in that at the time being. Euro, not real interested. If we start breaking above 110.60, targeting 111, then 111.40 area. Pound broke out to the upside. The next target is 127, and then 127.90 area. 127.90 is very key. Bitcoin still caught in consolidation. This move did not get high enough to invalidate the potential double top, so still keeping an eye on that. We had Tesla. Again, this can snap back, especially we're against the rotation zone. Next key target is 177.50. If you want to know what would invalidate the massive double, it is not until you get a daily close above this level, 197.50 area. So it's a long way off from there. But major resistance coming in about 177. What else do we have? We had NTR for William. Then I'll get to spiders and the Qs. I just didn't want to miss this. NTR, William, your major resistance is about 68. You don't have a strong bottoming pattern just yet. So, and on any pop to 68, you're back to the rollover zone. And you're against the weekly rollover zone. I'd be watching more aggressively for another rollover to at least test this 61.50 area. For me, any buys would just be for pops into the daily rotation zone and the prior breakdown zone. Now let's get to the spiders and the Qs. These spiders, 412.94 pre-market. If we do roll over, 412.63, and then about 410.7. Two levels I'd use, 411.30, then 410.70. To the upside, 414.15. Then I would utilize 414.77, and then the gap fill, 415.53. On the Qs, slight gap down from Friday's close. So on push up, we do have 322.92, 323.77, then 324.57 are the levels to the upside. To the downside, any pullback area, my support zone is roughly right around 321.50 to 322. Would watch for a pullback support zone. That's the prior breakout level, your little pausing level, and the rising rotation zone on the 1 hour. Can't get overly bearish until you really start breaking below about 321. So those are those levels. Can we take a look at copper daily? Copper, sure. Copper. There is, you might be wondering with the second and third target into this wicking area why I still have it up there, because look at the targets on the 4 hour and it is sloppy on the 4 hour, but you get a close below $4 roughly. 409, 414, then 418 are your targets. That could take it to the most recent high area. That's about the only thing bullish, but there is some pretty substantial resistance overhead at 397. Now, you rotate back down. It rotates back down to this 385 area. It turns into a triple bottom on the daily, and I actually would be watching for a break then to 378. Remember, it's trading. You had this key resistance becoming support. So resistance back at the end of December and the really the end of December. The breakout on January, retested with the breakdown in mid-March. Tested again with the breakdown end of April and last week. So this is a very key area to watch for. From my perspective, unless you get the breakdown below this 384.50 area or the breakout above $4, it's sit on hands unless there's some very short-term trade. Morning. I think I said good morning to you already. Todd, thank you, everyone. By the way, no live stream at the regular time this afternoon. I will be at an appointment. If I have time and it doesn't get too late, I might just pop on real quick to take a look to summarize things, which you can always watch on demand, but there are no guarantees for that. But I will be back in the chair definitely tomorrow morning. I'll probably just put up something doing some kind of recap if anything eventful happened today in terms of price action. Other than that, everyone have a fantastic trading day. You are welcome, Jacob, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.